book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, was the first ever motivational book or money book that I ever read from beginning till the end. Like, that was not the first financial book or the first money book I've ever come across. The first money book I came across was The Richest Man in Babylon. But I can tell you guys for sure that I was not able to read that book, up to half of that book. And that was because the English used in that book was very difficult for me to read. The book was written in King James Bible English. If you're a Christian and you read the Bible and you read King James Version, you understand what I mean. So that is the English that that book was written in, and I was not able to finish that book. But when I came across Rich Dad Poor Dad, I was hooked to the book, and that book opened my eyes to a lot of things that I did not know before, that I was ignorant of before. And the book actually changed my life in ways that I didn't expect, because the book made me take some life-changing decisions that I'll be sharing with you guys today in this video. This book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, told the story of two dads. One was the rich dad and one was the poor dad. So the poor dad actually believes in going to school, getting good grades, graduating, getting a good job, and then climbing the corporate ladder. But the second dad, which he referred to as the rich dad, and that is the dad of his best friend Mike, actually believes in entrepreneurship, in investing, and in getting financial education. He doesn't really believe in traditional education, that is the school system. One day, Richard and his friend Mike went to Rich Dad and told Rich Dad to teach them how to make money. And Rich Dad agreed. Rich Dad told them that they would be working for him every Saturday for 3 hours, and that he would be paying them 10 cents for every 1 hour they work for him, meaning that they'll be earning 30 cents for the 3 hours they'll be working for Rich Dad every Saturday. And the boys agreed, because as at that time they were 9 years old. So they agreed and they started working for Rich Dad. But after they agreed and they started working for Rich Dad did not speak to the boys again for like 3 weeks. And that was when the 9 years old Robert Kiyosaki got angry and became frustrated, because for him, he felt like he was working too much and the pay he was receiving was not what the work he was doing. He felt like he was being underpaid for the work Rich Dad told them to do. That was when Robert now went to Rich Dad and became angry at Rich Dad and told Rich Dad that he wants to quit, that he's being unfair, that he can't be paying him such small amount of money for such big work. That was when Rich Dad now sat them down and taught them their very first lesson. Because for Rich Dad, that's exactly what he was waiting to happen. He was waiting for them to get fed up, become angry, and come and meet him either for a raise or for them to threaten him with quitting, to tell him that they want to quit. That was exactly what Rich Dad was waiting to happen before he could teach them their first lesson. Rich Dad actually told them that if they hadn't come to complain or to ask for a raise or to, become frustrated and want to quit, then he could have felt somehow. But for them to come and ask for a raise or threaten to quit, then that means that there was hope for them. If not, he could have told them, had it been they continued working at that job and did not complain, he could have told them that, sorry, there is no way he could have taught them about money or how to get rich. And that was when he told them that life doesn't teach you with words, life teaches you by pushing you around. Rich Dad taught them that the rich don't work for money, but the poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have their money work for them. Rich Dad explained to them that the school system is designed to create employees rather than entrepreneurs. And schools teach students to work hard for money, but schools don't teach students how to have their money work for them. Schools don't teach students how to, become entrepreneurs and how to become investors. Rich Dad told them that schools focus on academic and professional skills, but they usually neglect financial education, and this leaves the students unprepared for the real world financial challenges. And this was when I got my first eye-opening and life-changing lesson from the book, because as at the time I was reading that book, I was already registering for my MSc program. I was already trying to go and write my exams. In fact, I've already even gone for the exams, written the exams, and about to start registering for my master's degree program. But fortunately for me, I came across the book and I started reading the book, and that changed my decision. In fact, from that point, I just knew that I wasn't going to continue with that master's degree. I just told myself, I'm not continue with this registration, and I had to stop the registration right away. It made me start questioning why I even needed the master's degree in the first place, and how getting this master's degree was going to help me become successful or become rich. As I was reading the book, I was thinking about the lessons Rich Dad was teaching them in that book, and I realized that if I was going to become rich or successful, going to school and then getting additional certificates or more degrees was not going to get me there. And then right there and then I stopped with my registration processes, and I stopped applying for the master's degree that I was already applying for, that I already done the interview and everything. I stopped everything right away. And even when I was getting the follow-up email from the school that I applied to, I ignored all those messages, and I didn't even want to reply to any of them. I was not even tempted to go back and continue with the registration process. The book made me take that life-changing decision of not continuing with that master's degree, because if I had continued, honestly, I could have wasted money and I could have wasted my time, because I could have ended up getting a degree that I don't need and I was never going to use for anything, and that could have been a total waste of time and money for me. Now back to the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad also explained to them that they should have a different mindset towards money. Rich Dad explained to them that they should focus on creating wealth through investments, real estate, and owning businesses, and not just rely on salaries and paychecks. This taught me my second life-changing lesson, and that is not to rely on my job or my salaries or paycheck, but instead to look for other ways of making money. And that also made me, when I got my first job, not to start complaining about how small the salary was, or go and start demanding for a raise or stuff like that. And that was simply because the book shifted my mindset from an employee mentality to an entrepreneur. It shifted my mindset from being an employee to being an entrepreneur. And that is how I don't see salary as money, and I don't see a job as money. If not that I need a job to keep my body and soul together, to pay my necessary bills, I won't be doing a job. Because after reading that book, you may be tempted to resign from your job and start pursuing your dreams. But because I'm doing the job I do now because I need it, that is why I'm even still at the job. But even as I'm at the job, I don't have an employee mentality. I don't live paycheck to paycheck, and I don't rely on salaries, because I know that salaries, paychecks, job, those things will not make me rich. They will not make me wealthy. The book actually made me to start investing in financial literacy, which I was not taught in school, which is not actually being taught in schools. And it also taught me that instead of working hard for money, that I should focus more on creating income generating assets. And these income generating assets are those things that will yield us more money, that will get us more money. He actually explained that the poor and the middle class focus more on liabilities. They spend their money on liabilities instead of focusing on assets and getting assets that would yield them more money. They spend their money on liabilities like getting a car or buying a house and all that stuff. But if someone wants to be successful, the person should actually focus more on income generating assets and not liabilities or working hard for money, right? So these are the two major life-changing lessons that I learned from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. In fact, there are so many lessons in that book. That book is a very good book for anybody who wants to be successful. Seriously, it's a book I highly recommend. If you are someone that is driven and you're ambitious and you want to be successful, I really recommend that you go get the book and read it if you have not read it yet, right? There are so many other lessons I learned from that book, but I don't want this video to be too long, and so I'm just giving us the two ones that actually impacted my life in some very significant ways. That's why I'm just giving these two. I hope you like this video. Please give me a like if you like it. Subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed yet. Click the notification bell so that you stay updated on my latest videos. And if you enjoyed watching this video, you may like one of these videos on my screen. Tell me what you think about the book in the comment section, or about this video in general in the comment section. I would like to know. I would like to also learn from you. If there's any lesson that you also learned from the book and that you want us to also know, that is also powerful, or that resonated with you in some special way, please feel free to share with us in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.